Hello guys, Sean Fogarty here. Manchester City 2, Manchester United 1. Very happy with that result. Manchester is blue once again. First half, we started off really well. Then, once United got the penalty, that's where they got into the game more. Second half, I thought we were totally dominant. Because United didn't really have that many good chances second half other than the McTominay header off the bar. The penalty, for me, it's very harsh that's given. Even though it was one of the most blatant handballs I've ever seen in my life, for me it's still harsh because if Grealish got out of the way of it, then United may have scored anyway. And it looked like it was going into the hands of Ortega. So for me, it's very harsh that was given. But Ilkay Gundogan's first goal was absolutely brilliant, and he has to stay. He's one of the most underrated players we've ever had at this football club. He doesn't get the credit that players like De Bruyne get, Bernardo Silva, Haaland gets, because he's not one of those players that is like the main man in the team, because he's a very good player, Gundogan, and he scores a lot of big goals in big games, but it goes under the radar because of how well players like Haaland and De Bruyne have been doing. So that's why I think he deserves more credit than what he gets. And we need to make sure he signs a new contract, because I think he's arguably one of our most important players. Because a lot of people talk about how big of a miss Bernardo Silva would be if he left in the summer, but how big of a miss Gundogan would be because he scores more than Bernardo Silva, he assists more than Bernardo Silva. Yeah, he might not work as hard as Bernardo Silva, but I don't think many players in worldwide football, not just City in general, work as hard as Bernardo Silva. But Gundogan's got to go down as a City legend for me. And if we do win this treble, then he arguably goes down as a better captain than Kompany, because Kompany, yeah, he was a fantastic captain, but he never managed to win the Champions League with City. And if Gundogan managed to win the Champions League with City, then that's something that people will hold against Kompany and praise Gundogan for. Overall, I would probably say it was a 7.5 out of 10 performance from City, because there was periods where we were playing really well, and there was periods where we were playing a bit average as well. So that's why it gets a 7.5. For me, I'd give United a 6 out of 10, because the chances that they had were actually good chances, but they weren't creating chances enough. The chances that they had were chances that sort of came out of nowhere, because we controlled the game in terms of possession, and I think it was a deserved victory in the end, because we were more potent than they were. Yeah, they had more chances, but they didn't have chances that often. Because our chances tested the keeper more than they did. Because we had 5 shots on target and they had 3. And that shows, even though we had less shots on goal overall, that our chances were like better created. If you're wondering like where I am, because it's not my usual surroundings, I'm in my United uncle's house, and I watched the game with him because I couldn't get a ticket for the match because a lot of the tickets were going out to season ticket holders, because obviously it was a big cup final and it didn't help with it being against our arch rivals, so that's why I didn't get a ticket. But I wanted to do this because it was an SPEX thing that I could have done instead of going to the match. Man of the match for City has to be Gundogan because obviously he got the 2 goals, but honourable mentions to Akanji, Stones and Walker, because Walker kept Sancho quiet and Akanji and Stones kept Rashford quiet, who's been in scintillating form this season. And not many teams have kept him quiet this season, so that's why Stones and Akanji deserve credit. Because Rashford only had 1 chance the whole game, and it was the chance that he blasted over the bar from distance. For me, I don't think the referee was particularly that good, because I think Casemiro was lucky not to get sent off for when he stamped it on Akanji's foot. And I don't think the penalty was a penalty personally, because I think it was harsh, because if Grealish got out of the way of it, then and United scored, he would have been blamed. And personally, in that situation, I don't think he could have got out of the way of it. But this just proves Manchester is blue, because in all the derbies of like late that have been important, near enough all the time City have won. It was only that 3-2 that United had a couple of years back. Well, wasn't like a couple of years back. It was more than a couple of years. It was quite a few years ago. But it was when Rooney scored that bicycle kick in the 3-2. And also the 2-1 just back in January. Because City have got the 6-1 at Old Trafford, which was important. We've got the 6-3 this season. That was important. We've got the FA Cup final this season that we won, which was important. We've got the 1-0 where Kompany scored the header. We've got the 2 wins against them last season that were also important. United's wins against us like of late haven't been that important other than the one in January. Because they had the one where they beat us 2-0, not last season but the season before. That was where the league was pretty much already over. Because we had like a big distance between us and second place, which was United that season. And they also had that 3-2 where Pogba scored twice, which wasn't that important, because even though we could have won the league that day, we knew regardless of whether we won or lost that game that we were still going to win the league, because the distance between us and second place was a massive margin in that 100-point season. So that just proves that on the big occasions, City usually overcome United, and we have done again today. And that's 2 trophies now for this season. We could potentially win our first ever European Cup next week against Inter Milan. It's on my birthday as well, so hopefully we can get the victory on that one. And thanks for watching. I'll see you guys for the 5 things learnt tomorrow morning. I don't know whether it'll be tomorrow morning or the afternoon, because obviously I'll be travelling back home, but it will be at some point tomorrow, because there's no matches on, so I won't miss any matches if I do it. let me know what sort of videos you want me to do this week, because obviously, other than the final, there's not that many matches. It's only that Conference League final between Fiorentina and West Ham that I might do a video for. But apart from that, there's not really much football this week because it's coming into the end of the season now. Because obviously we've got pre-season in like July, but July is still quite a way away because it's not in like early July, those pre-season games. It's in like quite towards the end of July. So, yeah. And even though they are in the early hours of the morning, a couple of them, well not all of them, well one's on at like 11 o'clock and it would end at like 1:45 against I think, is it Bayern Munich? I think, correct me in the comments if it's not Bayern Munich, but I'm pretty sure Bayern Munich is one of our pre-season games, and then some Japan team that I've never heard of, and then Atletico Madrid. So obviously there'll be content for that when it happens, but they're still quite a while away. So leave a comment in the comment section below what sort of videos you want me to do in between then and now. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one. Come on, City!